Representative Mike Coffman, a congressman, Republican congressman out of Colorado with us now. Hello, Congressman.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited about this topic because this is fascinating. I was doing my research last night and reading a little bit about this story. You're proposing English-only ballots for counties in Colorado. Now, from what I understand now, many of the counties in Colorado have dual languages on their ballot. So if I go to the polls, if I go vote in November, I'm going to see English and Spanish on these ballots, right?
Well, it's Section 203 of the Federal Voting Rights Act of 1973. In effect, what the law says is if any political jurisdiction, say a county anywhere in the country, reaches a certain threshold of respondents in the census during the census that say that they're not very well proficient in English, then if you've got 5% of that voting age population, then all your ballots have to be dual language in Spanish and English. In Colorado, we have 10 counties that meet that requirement now, and the federal government's looking at adding another 16. All
right, we're putting right now on the screen Section 203 of the Voting Rights Act. It says a state or political subdivision with citizens of voting age who number more than 10,000 or who comprise 5% of a single language minority must be provided with election materials and assistance in the language of the applicable minority as well as in English. So why are you against this? Why do you think we should have English-only ballots?
Well, it's not that I think that we should have English-only ballots. I just think that the decision is best made by those local communities and not mandated out of Washington, D.C.
Oh, gotcha. So you're saying less government.
We're not paying for it. It's a costly, unfunded mandate. If a local community wants to do dual language ballots, I'm just fine with that. But I just think it's wrong for the federal government to make the decision for local communities and to make the decision in the most inefficient and costly way by saying if you reach that 5% threshold or that 10,000, then all of your ballots have to be dual language. In Colorado, we're getting ready to do an odd year election, and we're doing it all by mail. And so we're going to double our printing costs, double our postage, or increase our postage. To be able to meet this unfunded, costly federal mandate, and I think it's wrong.
How much money are we talking? What's this costing the taxpayer?
Well, for my one county, my home county in Colorado, it's going to cost for $350,000 per election, money that we don't have.
That's a lot of money. And in this day and age, you're right, when we just don't have it. So you're trying to undo this law, and you want it to be up to the counties, not the federal government. Is that right?
Yeah, I think, and you know what? I think it should be. And first of all, I think the need is greatly exaggerated. I think that, I mean, I can speak Spanish well enough to be able to read a ballot if it were in Spanish. Now, there are some of these ballot questions that I can't even read in English, and that's because of the legalese, and that's a separate issue. But there are more intelligent ways. In other words, it could be a county could say, hey, listen, if somebody applied for the ballot, requested it, then maybe they get it, or send a sample ballot to them, a dual language sample ballot. We've got, in my community, we've got Spanish language newspapers that talk about the issues.
How do you feel?
So I think there's a lot.
How do you feel about that? Because we have individuals that come into the country that aren't learning English, and there's a lot of criticism about that in the news lately. What are your thoughts?
You know, I think there ought to be an element of individual responsibility, but I do think, again, let local communities develop their own standard. But there is a requirement in law that says to be a naturalized U.S. citizen that you have to demonstrate basic proficiency in English. Now, in all federal programs, there are waivers to that, and I'm sure there are a lot given. But the fact is we do have a requirement in law. We don't have a requirement in law that says if you're English deficient, that you have access to a ballot in your native language. I mean, what we do have is a mandate that says if, you know, a jurisdiction has this many people in it, then we'll mandate it to that jurisdiction. So if you're not a native speaker and you're English deficient and you don't live in one of those counties that reach the threshold, there's no requirement for you to receive assistance.
Now, Congressman, I know that you served in Iraq with the Marines. You worked to support Independent Electoral Commission of Iraq, and you helped ensure the voting rights of all the Iraqi people there. Congratulations on that. We've seen major changes in Iraq. Do you think when they go to the polls, they spoke Arabic, now it's Kurdish? Is that right?
Well, I think in northern Iraq, there's a Kurdish language. Probably 80% of Iraqis speak Arabic.